Warning, if you're faint of heart or easily offended, this show is not for you.
All right, welcome to the Nik Vertucci Show. I am Nik Vertucci, and I am here with Nik Airball Arcot. They've been waiting for this one. You're one of the most controversial son of a bitches on the show right now. So we got a lot to talk about. We do, right? There's the laugh.
Yeah,
there's
the laugh.
Okay. All right, let's get the bullshit out of the way. Nik, you're 26.
Yep.
All right, give me a little bit of your background about where you went to school, all this stuff. You know, we're gonna get to, and then let's get to the fun stuff.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, went to school in China. I've talked about this at New York University in Shanghai.
Yeah.
So I was in China for 3 years, speak Mandarin. Out of school, lived in New York, then lived in LA, then back to New York, and then back to LA, all for investment banking jobs. And now I'm here, and luckily enough, back playing some high stakes poker.
So you're an investment banker. Mm-hmm. How long have you been doing that?
Since school, so like 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years, and you married your high school sweetheart.
That's right.
She's hot.
Yep.
Little blonde
Smoking
girl.
hot. Yep.
That's cool. And just for kicks, like when you're at the table and they're speaking Chinese, you know what they're saying.
Always, yeah.
And you can communicate at a high level. You're not like half-assed. Let's do me a favor. Give your intro about your school and your just what we talked about in Mandarin, just for like 10 seconds.
可以，我在上海纽约大学上大学，我在上海3年大概，然后1年在纽约，一年在，一个学校的年代在美国，3年在上海。
Wow, shabu shabu, bro. That's amazing, man. That has to be like, I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
That's like really cool. It's handy.
Yeah, it's very handy
at a poker table.
It's very handy at a poker table.
If you're like at a poker table and they don't know who you are and they're like, wow, this guy's you know. Yeah, that's good.
I think my first time playing with Wesley, he was talking to someone in Mandarin and he was giving them some coaching.
Oh, he was?
Of course.
Yeah,
and
that's what he does.
I start giggling because I understood, and he just looked at me like, why are you giggling?
Yeah,
and then he figured out I understood.
You let him know.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you could have held on to that a little longer.
I should have.
Very valuable.
I should have, but I'm too excited.
You're too excited. That's right. You have a tough time not saying what you think.
Oh, yeah. I like to talk.
At all times.
All the time.
You're a talker. Yeah,
yes.
We'll get to that.
I'm sure.
We're going to get to that. All right, so it says here, well, when did you start playing poker? It says here you played underground games in China and New York City, but tell me about that whole how you got into it, how you started playing, and then we'll get into the evolution of you and your game.
Yeah, so I actually started, like, not really playing, but I played for the first few times as, like, a kid. Like, my dad used to play poker with his buddies. He even played the main event once. Like,
Prem,
yes.
I remember his first name.
He satellited in with, like, his buddies. Like, they all did, like, a little, like, sit and go type thing, and he got to play the main event. So I, like, had seen poker. I'd played some family poker events, and then in college, played with my buddies, like, first semester or whatever, and just kind of got into it and started enjoying it.
Yeah.
And then, started playing some underground games in Shanghai, which there's like a lot of action in China, and like there's big action, small action, and the action's crazy.
What kind of action were you in at the time?
Small.
Definitely
small. Like very small it starts. Like, I mean, at first I was playing like 1 RMB, 2 RMB, which was at the time equivalent of like 15 cent, 30 cent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, it was like
so
small.
You were breaking your poker hymen.
Yeah, I was like a college student. Like, I had some extra money. I would go play. Like, it was more just like a social thing and for fun. And like, I was trying to win. And then slowly started like playing bigger and just getting more into it. And I like gambling.
Right.
And then when I was in New York, same thing, just playing underground games. I mean, there's a lot of action in New York as well, although it's a little more like icky to be a part of. But
yeah, well, I was talking to Christian Soto in a podcast they did. He was telling me a lot about the underground New York games.
Yeah. So I mean, there's some crazy stuff that I've seen in the New York. Like one time I was playing 1-2 in New York.
$1, $2?
$1, $2. And I was just like, I went after school with a buddy. We were just messing around, right? And the guy shows up and he's like, he pulls out like 2 bricks, 100K. And he goes, I'm all in every hand for the next hour. And for 1 hour, he went all in every hand. Obviously, you know how I did. I got fucking destroyed.
Yeah.
I saw a king and I was like, call.
Right.
Just like lost every one. But like that was like, I mean, I have some good memories of crazy stuff like that in New York.
Yeah, that's cool. And then so when you started playing, because I know you went back and forth, and there was a time during COVID we played a lot together here.
Yeah,
we played some games just to have fun and keep going once people started coming out again. But how did you start going up the ranks? Like, because I could remember back just a year or two ago, And we'll get to it. We'll get to this other subject in a minute. But I can remember like a year or two ago, we were playing 25, 50, 100, 200 would have been big, right? And, not until recently have you started playing at like this higher level with buying in 400, 500,000, a million, 700. Like, I guess take me from how you went so quickly from here to here, and then I'll try to ask you some questions in there to tie some things together.
Yeah, so I guess the first thing I'll say is like in college I used to watch Live at the Bike all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't have said their name. But
no. Live at the Bike's on the table. They're a real show. Let's talk about them. Yeah.
I mean, when Nick Ryan used to run it, I used to watch. And
is that how you met Ryan through that?
Kind of. So I met Ryan just because I was playing PLO at the bike and I was drunk and he was this guy's good action. And I like turned a 5.5 PLO into like a 2040 and just lost infinite or whatever. He was like, this guy's great. But I used to watch Live at the Bike, and my favorite days were Fridays, like to watch the big game with Garrett and Andy and you, and like remember that guy Gary used to play?
Gary the Hair.
Yes, Dan Zach.
They were killers.
It was a really tough lineup, and I used to always really enjoy it because I used to always just think, wow, like watching Garrett. Like,
did you feel sorry for me?
I just thought you were drawing dead.
Yeah, I was. No, but that's why I'm asking you.
I was like, at least this guy has infinite, so like he can be drawing dead, and like it's just like this much money now.
Actually, if there's a term of drawing less than dead, that's what I was drawing. Yeah,
but I do think that, and I remember thinking this, that like as I watched over like 2 years, maybe you were at Live at the Bike or something playing regularly, you definitely improved a lot. I remember like noticing that and thinking like, Nick's not like a spot the way he used to be. Like now, like he's probably
I could break even.
That's
could break even and have some wins by the end of the time. And then I was going into the Tuesday game and crushing.
Yeah, and that was obvious. I mean, the Tuesday game was just free for you. But I mean, so I used to watch them, and I would, I always wanted to play big. Like the idea of playing like in a game that was like, quarter 50 was like, wow. And I remember my first time playing like 1025. It was in the Legends room at the Bike. It was one of those games Ryan hosted. Remember he used to host that?
Of course, yeah, the VIP room.
Yes, room. And I remember the first time it was 1025. We had those blue chips from the Bike, and I remember I was very nervous playing that. And I remember Andy was there, and he had like 40K or whatever.
Yeah, that was big time.
And this stack was like here, and I was like, holy shit, this is a big game. And I was really excited, and just played that game a little bit, and then I just kind of slowly moved up, and then some things went well for me with work. I kind of like, as Ryan said, I've binked a little bit in life and done well, and then I'm a gambler, and I also I love the action, so I'm willing to play as big as possible and like just put it on the line.
Where was the trajectory for you with the work? Because is that playing into how you're able to, or not able to, but willing to, able to start buying in for $500,000? Because even if we go back, if I think back even less than a year ago, we were playing 25-50 or 1-2, and like if you had 50 on the table, that was a big stack for you. You were nervous.
For sure.
And you would be super monkey tilted being down 30, 40K. How so fast has that changed?
Even like a month ago, I'd be super monkey tilted being down 30, 40K. I think it's not necessarily that my financial situation has changed as much, although it definitely has.
Has it?
But a lot of it has just been like playing a lot of high stakes. So like when you don't play, I feel like high stakes at all, and then you get a chance in a big game, it feels like, wow, this is a big swing, this is a lot of money, because it is.
Yeah.
And like it sucks to lose like 30, 40K playing 50, 100 your first time, right?
Yeah.
But then nowadays, like getting to play 50, 100 is like the smallest game I play now. And so like now when I swing 30, 40K, I'm just like, this is normal. Like
you've accepted it.
Exactly. Like yesterday I lost like 100. It honestly, like not like in a
What's today's date so we could timestamp this?
So today is the
I don't know myself.
19th. So we played 2-4-4-8 yesterday with me, Andy Stacks, JR, Aaron Zhang, swingy game. I got owned by everyone. But like I lost 100, and like a month ago if I lost 100 I'd be very tilted. But now that we have these big games all the time, I'm like, it's not a big deal. Like tomorrow, or I mean Monday, we're hoping to play 500, 1K ante, 100K min.
When you say Monday,
this upcoming Monday off stream, we're hoping to play.
Oh, off stream, got it, because I know we're not running any.
So like we're gonna there's like some people in town who want to play big. So there's
500, 1,000
ante, and then we're gonna play 100K min, I think.
100K min. Who's some of the people that might play?
So that game will be me, Andy, Aaron Zhang, and then there's 4 Chinese people from out of town who are here for like a month, and they want some big action.
Are they friends of Andy's or Aaron's?
Both. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
And like I know them, Charles knows them. Like kind of we all know of them, and then they're here. So like now there's these big games. So I'm like 100K swing in that game is going to be nothing.
It's an orbit.
You're right. So that's kind of part of the reason why like the swings don't bother me much anymore, is because I know the opportunity to be on the right side of them is there. And so I'm like, if I lose today, like I can always have tomorrow.
And then if you play in this game, are you going to let anyone know you speak Mandarin?
They all know.
Oh, they know. Okay.
They all know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. You know, we both know sometimes rumors are bullshit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they can be hurtful. So I'm just going to ask because I've heard this like 3 or 4 times. You're welcome to say no comment.
Uh-huh.
Do you have trust fund money?
No.
Does Prim send you money?
No.
Because it's the word on the
It's
street
my favorite joke. It's 'cause I make the joke on the stream
You do
all
it
the time. Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
say
Because I've been told this 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, I don't know.
I say my dad-
I don't know what his coming out party was
Yeah.
into the $500,000 buy.
I tell everyone my dad backs me as a joke.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
So that came from you?
Yeah, it's a joke.
Oh, you started your own rumor.
I thought it was obvious a joke.
That's the dude. Whoever got that, it got to me. I never knew you said that on stream. I'm like, it could be. I mean, where the fuck? This kid's 26 years old. He was playing, like the anti game, and now he's buying it for $90 million. Like maybe I don't know. Maybe you came to maybe 26 is the age you got your inheritance.
You know what's funny actually? So my dad's driving down right now for Thanksgiving with my mom.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, oh, we might play like 25-50 off stream on Wednesday. I was like, if you want to play, I'll give you 10K. You can play.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I don't want to play.
No way. Yeah.
So,
but he's the biggest fan. He watches most of the shows.
not most, every show.
He watches
and
every
like
show.
even the shows that I don't play now, he watches. He knows all the players.
Oh, nice.
I talk to my dad almost every day because I call him on my way to work. I don't know, just like we're very good friends, I guess.
Yeah.
So every day, like he gives me a report on the day before. So like on Tuesday this week, he's like, Nick didn't play. This person played. This person won. Wednesday, he's like this. He's like Thursday, he's like, oh, the game was so slow. There was so much tanking. Everyone's on. He's telling me everything every day. And so
he gets it now.
Oh yeah, and he loves watching it. He loves the characters. Like when I tell him the Friday lineup, like for example yesterday, he was so excited. He's like, oh, that's so much. He's like, I love all those guys. Like yeah, he's like, it's a great group.
Is he a nervous wreck for you a lot of times?
Yeah, he doesn't like watching.
Even when now you're playing like you are. He's probably.
He knows the money like doesn't like if I lose 200 or 300 or whatever, it's not like going to change anything.
Yeah.
But like he gets very nervous because like to him it's just like
he's old school.
Yeah, it's like that's a lot of. He's like it's gambling still, and it's a lot of money,
right.
and he's like he gets worried. But at the end of the day, he also really likes poker and he loves like watching it. And
right.
It's funny though because he's old school with how he plays too. Like he'll tell me like you had pocket eights. Like why did you raise? Like why didn't you just like limp in and try to see a flop? And or he's like why did you bluff that guy? Like and he just doesn't quite get it. So
no, right. So he's wondering why you're doing this and you're explaining it to him.
Yeah.
So you talk a lot of shop with dad.
Yeah, for sure. Like I mean that big hand I folded to button clicker last week. I had ace king of hearts on the river and I folded. I don't know if you've seen that hand.
I did not see that one. We'll talk about the other one.
But on the river, like I bet 50K or something, and button clicker made it 155, and I had the nut flush on a paired board, and I folded. But my dad asked me after, I was like, oh, were you nervous when that guy?
Oh, it's when he had the jacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see it.
So my dad was like,
apologies.
He's like, I asked him, I was like, were you nervous when that river came? Because I knew he must have been like, oh fuck, it's a disaster.
How'd you know to fold that? I mean, obviously that could be a fold. It's a paired board, but I'm just saying in that particular hand. What was the deciding factor to let that go, if there was any, or just flip of a coin?
Okay, I guess there's like a little bit of poker strategy and a little bit of meta to it.
Okay.
So the poker strategy is that I don't think there's any bluffs. Like I can't think of a single hand he could be bluffing with. The only hand I can think of that maybe is a bluff is Queen Jack of Hearts, but that hand is just super strong and can just call my bet because I didn't bet too much. I bet 2/3 pot.
Right.
So there's no bluffs, and like even though this guy's like an online wizard and like theoretically finding bluffs in every line, like I just don't think in a live game 1000 BB deep he's finding a bluff there.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. Second thing is I don't think he's overvaluing a hand. And then like I block all the cards that he would use as bluffs. Like if he had ace jack with ace of hearts, he might bluff with that, or king jack with the king of hearts, he might bluff with that. But I block those. And then the other meta is like this guy's on one bullet. It's the biggest game he's ever played. I don't think he's going for it against me. Like I have a reputation of just being like an idiot and like stationing in big spots. Like I don't think he's going for it.
Is that something you've acquired and built up on purpose, that reputation? Because obviously you don't believe that's true.
I mean, I'm pretty stationy. I think the reputation is reasonable, but
is it?
I also think that like I'm more capable of making a big fold than people think I am.
People think, yeah.
That being said, like I don't really like to do it.
You're sticky.
Yeah, like yeah. I was pretty close to, like for example, if that was anyone else at the table except for him, I would have paid it off.
You would have.
Yeah. And another part of that was just because like I was like, if I pay this guy off another 110K, and this is like super fishy thought process, but it's the truth. I was like, if I pay this guy off, that money goes into the abyss. It's gone. It's done.
That's right. It's not coming back out.
Right. If I give it to anyone else in this game, I'm gonna sit with them.
That's not really fishy. There's some content.
And I'm like,
content to
exactly. Like if it was like Andy or JR or Aaron, guys who I'm playing with frequently, I would have beat him in the pot. Nothing to think about. My hand's super strong. If you got it, you got it, and we're gonna play tomorrow. I don't care. But with the wizard, I'm like, I'm gonna try to make the right decision here and not give the wizard 110K, which I think is reasonable.
It is reasonable. No, it was a great fold too. I get it. So we kind of talked about this, but so just the emotional swings you've embraced more now variance, and you feel comfortable that because you're going to play as often as you are, and you probably feel good about your skills, that you're less concerned with the variance and the swings. It doesn't. I think you've made a comment too, like, if I'm going to play scared, I don't want to play. Recently, I heard you say that.
Yeah, I have 2 rules when I play poker. Number 1 is I have to have fun. So like it has to be like people, like I can't be people I don't like.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, and then number 2 is I can't be scared, because there's definitely been games like, even on stream when I first played some of the bigger ones, where I was scared, like, or nervous, about the money and like the dollars and everything. Not because it's going to change anything, but just it's like when it's
foreign territory,
right? Like the first time you bet 100,000, you're like, fuck, I just bet $100,000. Like that's a lot of money. The first time you bet 10,000, even, like that's a lot. Like I went and watched one of the first streams I played, and it was a Tuesday game, the first one I played, and I think I bought in like 10K or something, maybe 20K.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I remember.
Yeah, and I remember there was a hand I was watching where like I bet like 4,000 on the river, and I remember being in that moment and being like, wow, this is a big bet.
Right.
And I was like kind of nervous.
Yeah, no, I remember you at that stage. That's why it's evolved so fast that I don't understand if like, that's why I asked you the question about Prem, and like I just don't understand.
I've like won in the games a little bit.
Yeah.
Willing to play, and like, I mean, Ryan knows this. Like, I just like love to play. Like,
that's true.
I always joke around and say like, I'm the best, and like, I'm joking. Obviously, I know I'm not the best, but I also think I'm the best. If that makes sense.
It does.
I have that mindset that like no one can fuck with me. Like, bring me Garrett, bring me any of these wizards. Like, I like my side, and I think that's like a part of my success.
That's a winning formula, no matter who you are, as long as you're not completely delusional. And you're not,
right?
So it's a fair thing to say to yourself.
That's how I approach it. Like, even when like they bring there's really tough players. Like some of the lineups, they're always good, but they're not always like insanely soft or whatever. Like Brian Kim's there and good players. I still feel like I'm a favorite in every lineup.
That's great.
I'm sure like smart players are out there are laughing and they're like, you're drawing so dead or whatever in the long run. But like to me,
that's how you feel.
That's how I feel, and I think a part of the reason I'm able to play the way I play, which is like I go for big bluffs and I just play how I think is correct in the moment, is because I believe in myself.
Honestly, believing in yourself and playing with confidence is plus EV for sure.
For sure.
No, even if you're faking it till you make it. Yeah. No, that's good. Now you said you have 2 rules. The first one you said like having fun and playing, and you and I have butt heads about this. We'll talk about it. Everyone knows. I stopped playing in the games with you.
Yeah.
You know that, right? There's been a little bit. I have you on my pod. I don't have anything against you.
Yeah,
you know that, right?
Yeah,
like, we're friends. But I've had a real problem with some of the antics, right?
And I can get loud.
Are you okay? We could talk about it?
Of course.
Okay. So now let me preface this. It's not so much, I don't know if you believe this, it's not so much needling me.
It's others.
You understand that, right?
Oh, yeah,
like, there's
know.
been plenty of times where there has been, and I know you can take it. I'm not saying you can't, because I know what you're going to say is like, look, I can dish it out, but I can take it, because you can. You don't have any governor on what people can say to you.
Oh, yeah.
So I respect you for that.
You can needle
I
me
respect you for that,
to
because
hell.
at least if you could dish it out, you could take it, right?
That's
But we've had a lot of players, and you know this,
I know.
very irritated to the point to where like they're not having fun in the game.
Yeah,
now
I can
I
can think of a couple people in particular who I know I've rubbed the wrong way.
Yeah.
And, it's never. I'm not proud of that. And it's definitely not my intention to take away from anyone else's fun. And in the moment, if I was self-aware enough to realize that, I would stop. But
do you remember when I was needling you and saying, how amazing would it be if you had any social awareness, and you were joking and laughing at me, but you remember that day I was actually serious?
And I know you're like, you're needling me, but you're also, there's like a lot of truth in it.
Trying to give you a message, And
I think you know this. I never want to upset anyone.
I think so.
I really don't.
You really don't?
No.
Because I wasn't sure. You know why? Could I tell you why I wasn't? And I'll let you finish. I apologize for cutting you off.
No, go ahead.
Why I wasn't sure is because after the first couple times you and I went to the side and talked, you kept doing it.
Yeah, and I think it's just because, like, I don't have very good self-control with these things, if I'm being honest. And, like, also part of it is, like, I don't take poker serious. Like, I just don't. I don't think it's serious. Like, people, like, who come and sit there and hand over their face and all, like,
I know.
Everything's on the line. I'm like, dude, it's not. Like, this is a fucking game. Like, to me, it's a game. Like, it's a game.
But you understand that if somebody's sitting in a Tuesday or a Wednesday game, listen, let me say this. They're sitting in a Tuesday, Wednesday game, and they're not capable of playing for 500,000 in front of them or have the same blessed opportunities you have. And they're down a 70 ball. They're fucking stressed out. Like, do you understand? That'd be like you stuck like 1.5 maybe. I don't know what your net, but and like they're really hurting inside. And so when you're pounding the shit out of them, and physically you could see how they're reacting. You can't sense that?
No, I can, and I try to lay off. I do try to lay off people when I think it's like past a point. Like, like for example, one person I love the needle. I know
who you're gonna say. I think
Ludacris.
Yeah,
I love it. Oh my gosh, I love to needle him.
He can handle it,
and he can handle it. But there's always a point, like when he starts losing like 60, and then he loses 70, and then it's 80.
You slow down.
I stop, because at that point I'm like, as like a fellow guy who can go off for big numbers, I'm like, I feel your pain, Luda.
Well, let me expound on that. He's one of the only players I do that with. But the reason he's one of the only players is not only because he can take it, but we do it back and forth. But the same thing goes when he's kind of north of 70, I shut down. Yeah. Because people think that, you know, him and I are nemesis and that I'm like so out of line with him because I pound the shit out of him. But we talk offline and we like that. And he like looks at the hands and he laughs and we talk. But there is a point where he stuck his ball sack and I just am like, I'm going to lay off until I could see the blood's coming back into his veins and we can go again.
Yeah. And I think part of the reason I am not as good at like shutting up when I should shut up is because I personally don't care about being needled. So I just kind of like assume other people aren't like that
you can't
sensitive.
Understand that it's a big deal.
Like, and like, I mean, to be frank, like most of the people I play with are much more well-to-do than me. Much more.
They are, but there are some, like, especially in the other games that are not.
Yeah. But
the Friday, maybe.
Yeah. But even Wednesday, I would say, I think even some of the specific names that you're thinking of, these people are much more well-to-do than me. So sometimes I forget that they get bothered by like the gambling swings. I just forget, to be honest. Like, to me, like, when I see like a guy who I'm like, this guy makes millions of dollars a year and has like a big business and he's stuck 50K, I'm like, it's 50K. Like, it's not a big deal. Right. And so I'm needling the fuck out of him. And then I don't really realize that he's actually upset about being stuck 50K.
Yeah. And so, he probably lost 50K 3 times before that too. So it's, you know, it's,
I try to, no, and you're right. And I try to let them breathe and I've worked on it. I'm still not very good at it, but I try.
How big of a factor is the alcohol? Or is it impossible for you to control yourself when you're buzzed or drunk?
So I haven't been drinking that much lately ever since I got wasted that one time.
You're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Kind of like a semi-time.
Well, Ryan said I can drink non-hard alcohol, but I just haven't been drinking that much because I'm just like, you know, let's chill. Yeah. But I don't think the alcohol has as much of an effect. I just think like when I'm drunk, I'm like a raucous drunk. Like I want to like have fun and like scream
you
and
go
yell.
Crazy, yeah.
And so it's just like in the moment to me, it's like fun and it's just like joyous and like I'm having like in my head, it's like a euphoric thing. Like I think it's obvious.
How could everybody else not be feeling what I'm feeling?
Yeah, exactly. Like how can everyone tell that? How can you not tell that I'm just like totally fucking around, like not serious at all, you know? And so I forget that sometimes people don't see it that way. And you know, like obviously, like you know, sometimes there'll be days where like I'll play on stream and afterwards my dad will be like, yeah, that was too much.
He will. Oh, that's good.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like the day I got really drunk on stream, he was like, "Yeah, not a good look, Nick."
Is that when you took the heat for Ling Ling or whatever the comment?
People don't even know.
I know she can take it.
You know Ling Ling that day. The reason she plays because I gave her money to play in the game.
Well, I would know. I don't know that.
Right.
So you give everybody money.
No, I'm saying like I'm friends with these people, so like, people don't realize it. Like Ling Ling still texts me like almost once a week from China, like saying how's it going. Like we're friends. So like
totally get it.
But at the same time, like I talked to Patrick about this, father of 10, Patrick, and he was just saying like he's like Nick, like he said. I know you're not saying anything mean-spirited. You know you're not. Most people don't. He said, but you're on like camera. He said, don't give them fuel.
Well, I can relate to that because I've been told recently more than not when I've been trying to figure out why I'm receiving so much hate. And it's because I have a polarizing personality. And like if I'm going after Chris, I come across as a douchebag. That's what I've been told, quoted by more than one person.
Because they don't know.
And like how I'm talking with everyone. But like you said, in your defense, these are all my friends. And by no means would I ever do that to a new person or anyone even that I know that I think doesn't like it or is not cool with it or going to give it back to me. So I do understand that. And that is something that, like when your dad said it, is true that the people watching just aren't going to understand that and they're going to perceive you a certain way.
And so he's like, just chill. And like, or like that day when I was drunk, I slow rolled tall in like a 60K pot. Okay.
Yeah.
And, but you know what people don't know? The day before, tall slow rolled me in an 80K pot.
Yeah.
They don't know that.
Yeah.
The board was like 7, 8, 9, 9, and I jacked 10, and we got all the like, and then river was like the board pairing card, and we got the money in. I shoved the river for like 40K or 30K, and Tall goes into the tank. And I remember we were off stream.
Is that full house?
Yeah, he's with the nuts, 9-8. And we're off stream, right? And I shove, and I'm like, call, please call. Like I'm about to stack Tall, right? He calls, I turn over my hand, he looks at it, turns over the nuts.
Oh my God.
I start dying. So then the next day when I'm drunk, I slow roll him for fun
Right,
and revenge.
That's fair.
Yeah, but no one knows.
But no one would know that.
No one knows that Tall was not upset. We were texting that night. Like, he's not upset. We slow roll each other. We're friends. Like, this is part of the game.
Yeah, I get it.
But
I do get it.
yeah,
I do get it.
It's people don't have the context, which is why I need to chill a little bit, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this before we get to the big hand. I think you were drunk during this time. You went on Joey's show. Twitch, was it?
Yeah.
And I could not believe my ears.
I was on a drunken rant.
Were you okay? Because
I was wasted.
You were wasted. Okay. You went on his show and for like 15 minutes
ranted
about almost every single player on high stake on HCL. You were like, first of all, you vehemently went after Garrett. Like, I mean, and we'll get to that. You could say whatever you want. I'm not looking to set Garrett up, or I'm not looking to have you say anything. You do whatever you want. It's your mic.
Sure.
But oh my God. The stuff you said
I was
about
out of
him.
my mind.
You were out of your mind. And then you were attacking people like, what's his nuts? Come on. The billionaire who donates shit.
Bill Klein.
Bill Klein. You went on to call Bill Klein the biggest fucking donkey on the planet. And everybody else at High Stakes Poker, you said, are donkeys, and everyone sucks, and you're the best, and Garrett's a this, and Garrett's a that. What was going on in your fucking head?
I was just in a drunken stupor. And now, first I want to say something about Garrett. So I think there's a lot of misconceptions about my relationship with Garrett and a lot of assumptions about it. So let me start by saying this. As I said earlier, like when I got into poker in college, that's the person who I idolized. That's the person who I wanted to play poker like. That's the person who I wanted to beat, Garrett. Not Andy, no one else, the best, you know?
Sure.
And so getting the opportunity to play with Garrett has been unique and interesting. And I think that it's just kind of like one of those things where what you, and I'm not trying to say this in a negative way, although I'm sure it's going to come across negatively and he's not going to like it. Like what you see on TV isn't necessarily like what you feel at the table.
Okay.
And there's just a lot more politics and bullshit around high stakes poker, as you know.
Do you want to elaborate on it, or do you want to leave it at that? That's totally your choice. No, it's up to you.
Okay, well, I'll elaborate. I mean, I've spoken on it, so I think it's probably fair that I can elaborate then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I want you to say whatever you want to say, but I'm not goading you to talk about people. I want it to be from you.
I mean, to be honest, I don't mind speaking facts and like giving honest opinions because like I think it's fair game.
Well, that's
I think so. Like one thing, like with this, when we play these games, people don't know it's Ryan's job fucking sucks. That's what I want to say. Ryan has the toughest job that I can imagine.
Yeah.
I organize games every once in a while, like on the weekend or whatever and stuff, and that's a fucking headache. Who's playing? What stakes?
Oh, it's
Are they playing?
If they're going to cancel, will they commit?
I'm out. I'm in. Day before, I changed my mind. Lineup's too tough. Dude.
Yeah.
You want to play poker or you don't.
Right.
So I never ask Ryan what the lineup is. Never. You can ask Ryan. I've never asked him ever.
Yeah.
Don't care. I just say, can I play this day? Or he texts me, you're playing this day. I say, okay, see you then. I show up the day of. I say, who's playing? He's like, oh, he's playing. I'm like, great. I'm not a fan of the politics of the high stakes games. I'm not a fan of Garrett blocking other pros from playing in the game. Guys like Art Papazian. I think that's soft. I just think it's incredibly soft.
Well, I'm not going to stop Art from doing anything, but I'm interviewing him tomorrow.
Yeah, and I hope he gives you an honest opinion. I like Art. I like Art a lot. And I think having played with Art a couple times, I actually think Art is better for the game than Garrett. That's just my opinion. Doesn't matter. And I think it's lame. Like, I just think it's soft. Like, if you're the best, like, show up and play. Like, you're already in a great spot. Like, you already are. I mean, people think, like, Garrett likes to act like he's so, like, whatever with poker. It's not true. Like, 100% Garrett
What's so whatever?
Like, he doesn't study. He doesn't, like, he's not, like, super into it. He's not, like, grinding hard.
Oh, yeah.
He's the biggest grinder there is. He's grinding every dollar of EV. He won't straddle unless everyone else straddles. Like, he studies all the players. Like, he watches all the streams, I'm sure. Like, dissects them. It's like, you already have these huge edges, you know? Like, for example, I watch my streams that I play on. Like, I fast forward to my hands to see what my opponents had when they folded. That's it.
That's it.
I don't watch. I don't care. I just want to see in some big spots, like, did I make the right decision, or were they bluffing me, or what hand did they have?
Right.
So if you're a pro and you're spending all your time studying and all this stuff, come on, like, just show up and play. Don't worry about who's gonna be there. Be confident that you're the best and, like, you're still winning. Sure, maybe your EV isn't like the highest it could possibly be if you block out other people from the game, but, like, come on, like, let's not be so soft. And I just don't like that.
So you don't respect that?
I don't at all. I
so
think
that's where you went south with your idol.
Yeah, that's kind of when I, like, started getting, like, an ickier taste, and then I just had some, like, bad interactions with him where he was, like, not happy post stream with, like the game has to be the way he wants it, the stakes he wants it, the size he wants it. It's like, to me, it's just like, no, it doesn't. Like, you're like, no offense to Garrett, you're the least important person in the game. You're the least important.
I know what you mean. Well, for views, and was very popular.
For views, sure.
But it was cherry patch for him.
Right. And so to me, it's like, I think Garrett brings a lot of value in the views. And I don't think Garrett's, like, a bad guy or anything. Like, I have never had, like, a negative personal interaction, but all, like, the poker politics interactions are incredibly tilting.
When it comes down to business of poker, that's not what you're a fan of.
Not at all.
It's the personal, you're fine, but it's that.
Yeah, I just want to show up and play. I don't care how good anyone is.
Were you ever blocked, or was it blocking others?
By Garrett?
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever had the ability to block me because I'm close with Ryan, and like, that kind of has kept me, like, out of it. But, like, Brown Bala, Ishan, he's blocked because of Garrett. They played once on a Friday, and then Garrett wouldn't let him play again. Even when Stanley Tang came to town, Stanley Tang's good friends with Ishan, and Garrett told Ryan no.
And then Ishan didn't play?
And Ishan didn't play. It's his friend.
I don't know. I stay out of that because Ryan makes the...
And I probably shouldn't say that on your podcast.
Listen.
I don't care.
Listen, here's the thing. I want to be clear. We're here. I'm interviewing you. Mm-hmm. You can say what you want. We didn't have one word of what we were going to talk about, right? So I'm not goading you into gossip. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in all these shows and gossip or whatever. But if that's what you feel and that's what you experienced, I'm sure that it's fine. Because, let me just preface. I don't have a problem with Garrett. I like Garrett. He's fine. He's always been good to me. I know what you're saying. I understand that. I'm very privy to it, but I have the blessing of not having to deal with it because that's a Ryan thing, right? Yep. Although I do get calls from him and I've had discussions and whatever. But well, to that point too, and not to expound on Garrett, I'll bring it back to you. But with a thing that Garrett has done, and we've been very clear. I've said in the past, I've said in the past this. There is no doubt everybody loves watching the highest stakes poker we could play. So this is one of those dichotomies that, like, counteracts the other one, and it's almost hypocritical what I'm going to say, okay? Because what's best for the show is for the game to play as big as it can. Because that's what people want to watch, right? Yep. They love when you guys are all buying in for millions in these big pots, and we'll talk about it, the biggest pot in our history just last week. So that's great, okay? But the problem is, and it's been like the problem that offsets the other one, and it's such a head fuck, is being, a promoter or producer of a show, there's a couple things that have to be kept in mind that you're guilty of. And we'll talk about it. And that's one of the things you remember. I stopped playing a show an hour and a half early once. Yeah. It's not just the straddle. It's like this, okay? So that's it. And that's the thing. Straddles make the game better and bigger and more exciting. But the problem is this. I think if you're playing on a Friday... whatever, right? Because if somebody's signing up, they know this now. If they're signing up for a Friday game and it's a 1-2-4 or 2-4, it's a fucking 2-4-8, 8-16. We know that. It's a big game. You better have the right bankroll. Yeah. But here's the thing. There are a lot of players that have been very committed to the show, love playing poker every week. Yes, they're well off, but they have a certain poker budget. They're all married, some of them, right? They have to answer to that shit. You don't understand that. I don't understand that, okay? But this is true.
Sure, yeah.
They show up to a Tuesday game, and they bring 20,000.
And it gets 100x bigger than it should.
100x bigger.
I know you think that I'm really on the side of kicking the games up, because I have in some games, but I've actually had multiple conversations with Ryan over the last several months. You can ask him, where I've said the games are getting too big.
Okay, so then you explain this to me. Okay, so the last, I don't know when it was a couple months. So Ryan and I had been going back and forth because it was like, look, and I know nobody believes this because they think I
know you're not scared to straddle.
I know.
The dumbest thing ever.
They think I'm the spokesperson so that it's me. Dude, do you understand when you were watching your idol, I was playing 2, 4,
I know.
8?
Nick,
do you understand that?
I've told you,
Okay.
I know you're willing to play
Yeah, so
1 million, 2 million.
but I will admit this on my podcast. I've said it before. I don't want to play deep stack 800,000 in the Friday game, but let me explain why. I'm not 26 anymore.
Yeah.
I'm 56. By the way, I could be your dad. Okay, so maybe I am. I don't know. but so for me, I don't want. It doesn't matter how well off I am, right? I don't want to go there and lose 250.
It's like what we were just talking about earlier. You don't want to play one Friday, lose 250, and then have to go play
and then I
50,
can't get
100.
a seat in the Friday games because it's in demand, and then I got to go play the ante game on Tuesday.
Yeah, that sucks.
And I like playing the ante game because we're all bullshitting and talking, and the other game a lot of times there's not. So I'm doing something for the love that fits me, right? Before when I was doing the Friday game, whatever, but now I'm enjoying myself. So for me, it's not the straddle that bothers me. A $200 straddle is ridiculous in the ante game. I don't care.
I know.
But what's happening is, and I've talked about this on another show, is that, and God bless this guy's heart, because everyone knows this. He's my favorite person, I think, on the show is J Boogs. I love him. He's just the most pure, nicest guy I've ever met. Okay, I fucking adore him. But when Jeremy gets stuck, he wants to play 4-8-12. Okay, and that's or 4-8-16, and I got a couple other guys that are sitting there, and I'm not going to mention who, that like they brought 20 or they brought 15 or they whatever, and we can't loan them money. It's against the rules as a promoter, and I know you will loan anyone. I get it, so you're valuable to us because you do that. But they come to us on the side. They won't do it on the screen because no one wants to be a pussy. But they'll come and say like, I'm showing up to play this. This is what I want to play. And what I used to always try to tell Garrett, and then I'll try to even like tell you if you'll grab this, is like if you're playing 25-51 and you leave the game 25-51 in an occasional 200 straddle, a person that doesn't want to put $100,000 on the table because it's too deep for them and they're afraid will put 20, 30,000 out 2 or 3 times.
I know.
So I hate to sound like this because it sounds predatory, but you're going to get it anyways. Okay? Yeah. But you're going to get it at a pace someone's comfortable with. And then the next time it's a Wednesday, they will go, oh, yes, I'll play, because they know they're not going to show up and it be 200, 400, 800.
Yeah.
And so that's the problem. So so Ryan and I have been arguing about this forever. And I like have had I know I'm supposed to be interviewing you, but
no,
this is fun. This is good for you to hear. It's good
yeah.
conversation, okay? Because most people are going to comment and say, why doesn't Nick shut the fuck up? Because I don't fucking want to. It's my show. Okay. So we had talked a lot, and Ryan's up there producing and doing whatever, and he just lets it go. And him and I talk. He's like, okay, well, can you enforce it? Yes. So as I'm enforcing it, I'm getting tilted because no one's listening to me. And now
like the All-Star game.
Oh my God, we'll talk about it. I have never had a worse time playing poker in my whole life. If it wasn't my show in the All-Star game, I would have fucking pushed all my chips into the middle of the table and walked out within an hour. I got fucking hammered by Double M, by Garrett, by everyone. I was honest to God, I was like the only stripper at a fucking bachelor party of 800 people. Like I was just being destroyed.
You're like, you guys, we're not going to straddle today. Straddle?
The first hand, Garrett goes 200 or 400, whatever. He goes like this. And then Andy's right before the button and he makes it 400. And I swear I thought I was being trolled.
I know, you look at me.
I look at you and I go, it's a joke. And they weren't. And I was like, wait a minute. I just gave a speech. You were texted by Ryan a million times. I told you I got 3 players that are in the All-Star game that haven't played bigger than fucking the ante game or Max Monday. And now we're all playing 400, 800. I said, like, oh my God. So that was the first thing. Then Garrett gave a speech that I didn't want him to give about the hustler canceling the tournament, which I'm like, no. He goes, no, it's okay. And he like kept talking. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? And then Double M fucking harangued me for playing Kings the way I did because I'm fucking
In fairness to Double M, that was an all-time rant. All time.
It was the best.
Maybe the best rant I've ever seen.
I had him on the show, but you don't understand. If he would have ranted on me like that with nothing prior, it would have been funny to me. But because I was so mad already when he's doing it, I'm like, what am I even doing here, right? So anyways, back to the point. And the point is that these players, like I was at the locker during that show, and they're like, what's happening? You're not protecting us. And then they're doing it and fist bumping because they want to be one of the guys or girls, right? Yeah. So Ryan and I had been talking about it. It's been an all-time fight for us. And then that Tuesday game, you were straddling 800 every hand in any position. And then every continuation bet was 4,000. Like on the flop.
Game
Do you
got really
remember that?
big. Yeah.
Okay, no, it didn't even get really big. You were doing it to fuck off, like whatever.
Yeah.
And then
I
nobody
got stuck
You got
100,000.
stuck
I was like,
100,000.
we're gonna go.
You were stuck 100,000, and you were like straddling 1,000, betting 5,000 on the flop with 800 in it. It was just like retarded, right? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get canceled for the word retarded. Whatever. It's my generation. Okay. So, anyways, so I'm looking at you, and I go like this. Hello, like where the fuck is everyone up there? Like I don't want to fight this fight, and I just said,
I'm out.
fuck it. And I went and sat down over at the place. And then so Ryan came down. And he comes down. And he goes, I know. He goes, I have to handle this. We have to handle this. Like our players are really upset, and this game got ruined. And now that's where the two straddle per round thing came from that day.
Yeah.
And it still gets breached. As soon as I go to the bathroom, everyone does it. Ryan does it.
I know.
but it's not because of the straddle. It's just because there's this balance between always having the highest stakes games, but we can't have too much attrition.
Yeah.
We have to have players.
No,
And it can't just be you, Mars, Wesley,
Yeah, it can't just be the
and a couple
Chinese
people.
mafia and
Yeah,
Andy.
the Chinese mafia, and then the knit. Like
Yeah.
you can't. It's got to be people that can play.
Yeah, and no, I'm definitely like guilty of kicking the games up too much.
Yeah.
But I also have had conversations with Ryan where I'm like, these are getting too big. I mean, like
Not for you, but you're saying for,
for the
players.
pool, like for the player
And you
pool.
do know that the game tightens up.
Yeah, no,
It's less-
I think the game is better deep without a ton of straddles than with a ton of straddles shallow, and I think the game's more interesting. Like I'd rather play 51 100k deep than 100 200 150k deep.
I swear this. You're hitting the nail on the head.
No,
it plays better.
I agree. And when you're playing 50-100, you might get like recreational players might put 100,000 on the table because they think it's not in play or it's
right.
not as likely to be in play.
But it is.
But it is, especially like if people like me and Andy
Yeah,
are there,
right.
like we're gonna put it in, but then you have these really fun pots. Whereas if it goes 51-2-4, they're not gonna put 100k in play because they don't want to felt 100k in one hand,
No.
which is reasonable. But that being said, I also think what you said is true, which is that kicking the game up is so fucking good for the stream.
100%.
And like people think that. Like I care about the stream a lot. I want the stream to do well. Like a lot of the stuff I do, I think it's because it's like good for the stream to play bigger. It's, whatever. And like for example, last Friday, I don't think this player will mind me saying this because we're good friends. Mike X last Friday he played, he won $250,000 I think or something.
Yeah, I crushed.
Yeah, he doubled through me in his biggest pot ever. Mm-hmm. Before the stream, it was 2-4-4 or it was 1-2-2-4 something like that. 2-4-4. I can't remember exactly. Before the stream, we're in the cashier's room and he says, "Nick, can you do me a favor?
Keep it
Here. I don't want to go bigger." I said, "Mike, I promise it won't go bigger. Well, they're gonna ask to straddle. We'll do some rounds, but I won't let it go auto." Once he was up 150k, I said to him, "Mike, do you mind if we put the straddle on now? Like, there's been some blood."
That's perfect.
He said, "No problem. We can do whatever we
That's
want."
perfect.
And that to me was the perfect way of doing it.
There is not a damn
perfect
thing
way.
wrong with
Yep.
that. But that's just a perfect example. Mike X has got a lot of money.
Dude, people don't understand. Mike X is like a fucking life crusher. Like the dude's playing 5-5 6 months ago, sees the show and is like, "I just want to play on the show," and now he's playing 400 800 with a bunch of killers.
Yes,
Like
he is, and
holds his own.
And he's a crusher in life monetarily too.
Yeah.
So, but that's just to the point. Like a guy that has a lot, he still doesn't want to come
Right.
and have it kicked up. He
Yeah.
wants to come every week. And if he loses his 100 ball a week, maybe, or less, or wins, it's fine.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to come and put $500,000 in play on a one Friday to lose it.
No, I think
But it's a tough thing, right? Because both things are true. You got to protect, and then bigger's better, right?
and I think that what you said earlier is what hits the nail on the head. I think Fridays, anything goes.
I think
Fridays
should be.
we can fucking
If you
play.
play Friday, listen.
Don't come scared.
Just come with
A lot.
the infinite amount of money and ready to play.
Like-
if not, just play Monday
Exactly.
through Thursday.
Like yesterday's lineup, everyone there. Like no one
no
cares
one
what
cares.
stakes we played.
No, the
Literally.
lineup was perfect for it.
Yeah, no one cares.
And it should be play as big as you guys want.
Yeah, and so we did.
That's perfect.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I think the game should be kept a little more in control. Like when I play Wednesdays, for example, I try not to make it auto 200 because I know it's too big. And there was like 2 Wednesdays ago, I was stuck like 160, and I was like, we got to play auto 200. But I was stuck 160, and I was giving it away, so I didn't feel too bad.
Right.
But most Wednesdays, I try not to put that one on. And people don't think it's true, but I try not to make it auto because I know it's actually bad for the game.
It is, and if you keep doing, and I'm just saying, if that keeps not you, but if that keeps happening on Wednesdays, the Wednesday game will no longer be as good as
Exactly.
it is. It won't be. It'll be a
tougher
tougher
and
game.
tougher. Yeah, I know.
And Ryan will struggle.
Yeah, and
We'll struggle, but ultimately it's him because he's doing it.
And I think that's the key is that the games need to be as big as possible while still being comfortable for everyone and not comfortable just for a few people. Like me and Andy, for example, and like Mars and Henry and Charles, like we'll play as big as possible. We're not like worried about it.
Totally.
But at the same time, that's not the game. The game is a couple guys who are willing to play huge and a couple guys who are happy with the game. So the game should stay as is in size.
Right.
That being said, it's also tough when like guys like Jeremy or someone like wants the game to go up. It's hard to say no to them, you know, and like,
well, it is
they're
hard.
losing.
Yeah.
They're tilted. Like, I get that. Like when I'm losing and tilted and I want the straddle on, I'm going to be tilted.
But
if,
you know the thing that everyone has to understand is poker's one long session. We're going to be back the next day or the next week.
Yeah.
And you might have 2 other players that are sitting there with 15,000 in front of them or 12. And they don't want the 800 on because it's literally one hand.
And it's like,
it's a shove fest. They don't want that.
It's actually not as fun to play for me.
It's not.
I don't find 100 BB poker interesting at all. I think it's very boring. It's like pocket 8's all in, pocket 9's all in, ace queen all. Like it's just not interesting to me. It's like if I just wanted to flip coins, like I could just go to baccarat and
flip.
bet 100K a hand. Like I don't want to flip coins.
There's no strat.
I want to play interesting poker. Like that's why I buy super deep, is because I think buying super deep gives you interesting opportunities to like find big bluffs, find big value, to play hands differently.
For sure.
And so part of buying super deep is like do super deep even compared to the blinds. Like yesterday, like if you have 300K yesterday and the 800's on, it's like 400 big blinds. It's not even super deep.
No, totally.
Right. But when you have like, you know, when it's smaller and there's even deeper, I think that game can be super interesting.
See, I don't have any issue like in the Tuesday game or the Wednesday game, Thursday game. If like you or Wesley come in and buy in for 500 or $1 million, Wesley came in and bought like in for $1 million on the Tuesday game.
I think that's so good for the stream
That's
too.
cool. Like that's fine. People are like, oh my God. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't matter to the game. What matters to the game is if Wesley's continually trying to get the 400 on or the 800, like whether he's stuck or whether Jeremy's doing it, then it matters.
And there's another comment I'll think about with the buying deep thing. I do think that sometimes buying super deep is bad. And I think it's bad because, and I try not to always like just buy in for like 200,000 more than everyone. I'll buy in for the same as the most or whatever, because I think it kind of like intimidates some people into being like not comfortable. Like,
I agree with you.
This guy buys in 500, I have 50. Like,
I totally
my 50 is
agree
nothing.
with you. I think it's just better.
And I just feel like I don't want to make other people uncomfortable with that. Like, that's why yesterday, for example, me, JR, and Andy, and Stanley Choi, we all bought in 300,000. After an hour, I added on 100 because I wanted to have the most. Made me happy. Then Andy won a big pot for me, and I added on a little more so I could have the most. And then I don't feel like it's as like, people don't feel as crazy like, wow, I'm buying in 50, someone's buying in 100x me.
Is this a new thing for you? Because when I stopped playing with you at the same table because of these antics, and I didn't want to, I'm an emotional person, and I get pissed off about like people doing things that are not good for the show, so I stay away from it, right? It's not you. I don't dislike you, right? I don't. But I didn't want to be around you at a poker table because when you're destroying some poor guy that's stuck 60K and he's like fucking on suicide watch, I just don't like it. Like everyone thinks I'm a douchebag. I'm actually anti-douchebag. I would never do that. I would never act the way I act to a person I don't know or a new person. I only do that with my friends because we have an understanding.
And we know each other.
Yeah, and so I get you're doing it too like that. So, but is this a new thing? Because once I stopped like saying I'm not going to be in a game with Nick anymore, which I'm saying publicly, I did that. I just don't want to be around you. Is this new? Because when I was around you, you weren't doing these things.
What, buying super deep? Or?
No, you didn't have this philosophy. Like all of a sudden, this epiphany that you're having.
No, I'm learning.
Okay,
like,
well then maybe we'll play together again.
Yeah,
you can have my money, but I want to have fun while I'm doing it.
Yeah,
and I want everyone else to have fun.
No, I'm definitely evolving and learning. I mean, I'm 26. I'm young.
Yeah, quit using that as an excuse. You know why? Because I know life experience matters, but you're very smart.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not using it as an excuse. I'm just saying like I'm learning a lot. Like I haven't played high stakes poker like some of these guys for like even like you for what 10 years or 5 years,
probably
like,
longer.
Right. So
enough,
I don't have as much experience. So I'm kind of all of my knowledge base for this comes from watching streams, which as you know is very different from being there.
Totally.
And then playing. Like I mean, I haven't played that much volume of high stakes. Like I really haven't. Like it's been like
no, I believe I've watched your evolution. That's why my first questions were, I don't understand it. No one goes like that fast.
And so as you're saying, I'm evolving a lot. And I think that's true. Like so I definitely like try to adjust and change depending on what I think is right. I'm never trying to be a dick. People don't think that's true, but I'm really not trying to be a dick to anyone. And I feel like there is, so for example, a couple weeks ago I played with the player and I upset him. And I knew
Can you say who?
I think it's better not to. I'll tell you after.
Okay.
I just because it's just like they're not.
Was it a bigger game?
It was like a medium game.
Okay, Wednesday. Got it.
Yeah. And so you probably know who.
No, I don't.
Okay, well, if you thought about it, you probably can figure it out. But anyways.
Fine.
So I upset him, and I felt really bad the next day. Like,
how did you upset him? Don't give the details where we can figure it out. But what, did you troll him?
I was just like needling, So like they won a pot off me early where I was like bluffing it off, and they called and they gave me a little needle, and I happy with it. I needled them back when I won a big pot, and they didn't take it well.
Okay.
And I could tell right away.
Was it a balance thing?
Like
or were you
fair needle?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
But they just didn't take it well, and it was fine. Like that's fair. Like you don't, you know, whatever. And I knew they didn't like it in the moment, and so I just stopped talking.
You were aware this time.
Oh, I was right
stopped.
away. Yeah, I stopped, and that was it. I didn't talk to them the rest of the day, and I knew after they were upset, and I felt bad. But also, I was like a little bit like, you know, like I always see it as like a give and a take. If someone needles me, I always assume the door is open.
I would think that's true.
But at the same time, what I've started to learn is not everyone can take it if they can give it, which is fine.
That is true too.
Which is fine. And at a poker table, like, as you said, it's a social thing. Like, if someone can give it but can't take it, it's not a big deal to me. I don't
think
mind
there are some people too that can give it and can take it, but only can take it to a threshold because if they start losing a certain amount, they don't care about the rules of fair give and take. They just want to be left alone.
Right. And you know, that kind of reminds me of the Eric Person Dr. Mr. Batman thing with the cards. So like a lot of people ask me my opinion on that as someone who
what is your
needles and
opinion?
talks. So I have a very clear opinion. I think what Mr. Dr. Batman did with the needle cards is fine. Don't think it's a big deal. However, you crossed the line and brought needling to the high stakes game. You chose to engage in it. You crossed that line with these players in their head, right? You don't get to now say the line ends here when Eric stacks you and starts talking shit to you. You don't say, I'm a small businessman, like you're passing the line. You already chose to go past that line and start needling. If Eric says, okay, we passed the line, now I'm going to fucking shit talk you as I stack you in a 600K pot, I say, talk more, Eric.
Right.
To me, it's fucking fair game.
Sure.
And so I think like, you know, playing the victim there is so soft. It's like so soft.
So my question to you is because I didn't watch the prior hands. I only know he handed. The only thing I know is, and because Eric mentioned it, and I went back and watched that he handed Ben when he had the aces. Okay.
Yeah, he cracked Ben's ace and handed the card.
Okay.
I know Ben very well. Not the right person to hand a needle card
No,
to.
no. No, he is not.
Have you ever seen me needle Ben?
No,
never.
You can't.
It's not the right person.
It's not the right person.
It's
right?
not.
Even you know this.
Yeah, I love Ben.
Unaware.
Yeah,
Nick
not the right person.
Right. Point. You're right. So I guess what I was saying is, was Batman doing this with everybody, no matter what the circumstance was, because here's what I'm asking, and I don't know. I'm not defending him at all. I believe what you're saying. Was his more in good fun in easier spots because Eric hit him hard. Eric hit him hard, aggressively, not like just a troll, like, fuck you, I'll take it, whatever, you big fuck, here's your fucking close it, no, fuck you. Like, that wasn't even needle. That was like, fuck you, bro. So, was it equivalent or was it over the top?
No, Eric took it to another level for sure.
Did. Okay, I don't know.
But I still think that Dr. Batman, Mr. Dr. Batman.
Mr. Dr. Batman. Whatever the fuck.
Which, by the way, I met him on the Friday. Super nice guy. Okay. But, and like he gave Eli a needle card, and you could tell Eli wasn't into it. He gave Patrick one, and you could tell no one was really into it, but you could also tell he was doing it totally in good fun, like nice guy.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just because I wasn't there.
And so I definitely think that his intention was not anything mean or negative. I definitely think Eric was trying to fucking teach him a lesson there.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But I also think it's fair game.
I do too.
Because like Mr. Dr. Batman, while his intention was good, the same thing with me, okay?
Yeah.
While my intention obviously sometimes is good till when I'm joking and drinking and needling, how people take it isn't necessarily how I intend it.
I understand.
And so it's fair.
It's the same with me. I have a polarizing personality, and a lot of people watching don't understand.
And so that's why when you tell Ryan, I don't want to play with Nick, I say that's fair because even though my intention is not to upset you, I can't control how you perceive and receive what I do. And
no, you're right.
I can't be like, no, Nick, you're wrong for being upset at me. Like, I wasn't being a dick. Like, no, if you thought I was being a dick, then I was being a dick. That's fine.
Yeah.
Same thing. Like,
it was more in the protection of our game and players.
I'm just explaining like,
So like, but the premise is what you mean.
So what I'm saying is, I think Eric perceived those needle cards as being very disrespectful.
Yeah.
And very over the line. And so I think he reacted how he felt was appropriate.
No, I totally get it.
And so to me, that's fair game. And like, I thought it was great TV too.
You know what's the funniest thing I heard in a long time? Mr. Dr. Batman. What the fuck is that? Like, just to have to preface all four of those names.
It's so hard.
Just because that's what he called himself. Mr. Dr. Batman. Poker is the weirdest thing in the world.
The weirdest
place. Fucking. Anyways, that's crazy. All right. Okay, so before we talk about the big hand, favorite player or players to play with because you like them? Andy. Okay. Toughest player or players that you play against at HCL?
Toughest players?
Yeah,
there's
that
some
actually
tough ones.
you would consider tough to where you're like on your toes in the hand, like you gotta be like focused.
So I'll give a couple names. Andy's tough for me because he's not scared. Mars is really tough for me.
Yeah.
Mars has punished me in some big pots with one pair. Chinese Charles, the guy he's just not afraid to get the money. I struggle with people who aren't afraid to get the money.
Yeah, you feel good around guys like me that are cherishing my 70K,
right.
and I'm going to put it in only when I feel it's the right time.
Right. You have I feel good with guys who have a threshold for like the money. Like not because you're not richer than everyone or whatever, but it's just like you're like, I'm a sane person. I'm not going to put in 100K with one pair. Like I love those guys because like then I can put in 100K.
Yeah, you can exploit them.
Right. With Mars, like I remember the first time I played with Mars, and I like tried to run a big bluff on him, and I was certain he had one pair. So I put in like 100K on the river, and I was like, this always works. And he like beats me in the pot, and so I'm like, oh, I ran into a set, and he showed me one pair. And I thought to myself, fuck, this is not the right guy.
You can't do that to him.
Same thing with like guys like Aaron Zhang, like that guy, you can't fuck with that guy. No. I mean, you can, like I do, but you can't because he's going to fuck with you. Like yesterday, someone opened under the gun. He called next to act, and I made it 8,000 with ace queen of hearts. Folds back to Aaron, and now he back raises to 40,000. What the fuck? Like these guys play. Like they give action. Those are the guys I find hard, but they're also my favorite people to play with because I feel like my brain has to be turned
you're
on.
challenged.
Yeah.
No, I get it. You like the challenge, hence your point to the Garrett thing.
Yes, exactly.
You want to play. You don't care. You just want to play.
I want to play.
You want to compete.
Yeah, like when Button Clicker was playing that day, I was like, I mean, was I thrilled that this wizard was coming? No. But also was I like, this is going to be fun to try to like fuck up this online genius? I was like, yeah, this is going to be fun.
You're not going to believe this because of what you kind of think or know of me, but the truth is one of the best things that ever happened to me, I've said this a million times, was to play at the bike on the Friday. Because like I said, the first 3 months, 4 months, maybe more, I had no idea what was going on. I didn't even know how much I didn't know. But once I realized how bad I was, once I realized how good they were and that what poker really was, like if you're playing at a high level, I wanted to keep playing.
Let me ask you a question. When you see, I know you're open about you get coaching now.
Yeah.
You didn't get coaching though when you were at the bike in those Friday games, right?
No.
See, that's what I thought because your improvement there was incredible considering that you didn't get any coaching. You just learned from playing.
Let me take that back. I did not get coaching for the majority of it. The same person that I work with right at the end of my stint, I started working with, but I could remember when I was in the $1 million cash game and Matt Berkey bluffed me when I had aces. Do you remember that?
Yeah. And then he made 19 videos.
He made a fucking million videos of it, whatever with him. But that was like the very beginning of working with somebody, and I could remember being on the phone going, I should never play poker again because I was talking to that person and we talked it out. So I don't want to make a misstep. So I was a little bit, but I was still running businesses, so very sparingly and not deep at all. When I started really going deep into the tank and into the lab, and really working was sometime at COVID in the middle somewhere when we got the show and I was whatever. And I still even remember the first year when we started in August 3rd of 2021. I remember in November I was ready to quit poker.
Yeah, I remember you had a really bad stretch to start,
God.
right?
I was training.
I remember
and I was ready to, it was when Patrick, 10K Patrick, binked a 9 on the river on me. I was on one of the worst variance downswings in my life. And I was on suicide watch, literally, and I was ready to quit. And the only reason that, not quit, but maybe not play much, is because I just said, okay, instead of pussing out, I got to go harder, and I got to figure this out, because I didn't understand variance. I just thought you either sucked or you were good. And like, I didn't understand it. I can, believe it or not, I can actually embrace it now, but only probably in the last 6 months have I really embraced variance, because I was pissed off, even from 6 months ago. If I was stuck $15,000 in a Tuesday game, I was fucking monkey tilted. I got a lot of money. And I was still like, I hate to lose. It's the competition. I
understand.
But now I'm starting to embrace it. It doesn't bother me. But to answer your question, I got better because I played with Andy and Garrett and Gary and these guys. And I would go back and look at the hands and go, oh my God, what are they doing? But maybe I should try that, you know? So yeah.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's funny is, so like I know you still get coaching and everything, but sometimes I'll watch and you'll play a hand and right after the hand you'll be like, I fucked that up.
Yeah,
and you'll know you did.
That's the difference.
And it's like, it's funny because it's like when you're new to poker and you make a big mistake like that or a small mistake, you don't realize you made a mistake. You're just like thinking like, Whereas now you play the hand, and as soon as it's over, you're like, that was obvious.
Nick, not until about 8 months ago, I would say really solid 8 months, have I really felt like I get the game of poker. And I played for years. And that's what you're saying. Like in the past, I would do something and I have no idea. When I first started working with my coach, you know who it is, but appreciate you not saying it. I give him 12% of my winnings. Okay. So for people out there,
That's
like
such a weird number.
It's 12. We negotiated. It was like hourly and then it's this. And I'm like, 12? I'm working for free here, you know? But think about it. It's paid off like 10, 20x, right? Because I didn't understand up until about a year ago, sizing. No idea what sizing was. I was totally face up in everything I did. Now when I
it used
do
to be
it,
a lot easier to play against.
yeah, now when I do something like you said, I'm like, as soon as I put a bet out and I know it's not big enough to accomplish what I'm doing, I'm like,
fuck.
Because I know I did it.
You used to, one thing I used to notice playing with you a lot is you used to bluff way too small.
Yes.
Like you'd pick the right spots, but you'd always like puss out on the size. I'm not saying that like in a mean way. Like,
dude,
it would just be like
say whatever you want about me. I'm not sensitive that way.
Like that's just kind of how I talk. Like I mean, like I would play with you or watch the stream and I'd see you go for a bluff. I'd be like, good, Nick's like, I see you cutting the chips. I'll be like, Nick's gonna win this hand. He's finding the right to bet, and then you bet like 30% of the pot, and I'd be like, no, and then but now I see you like size up in the right spots and everything. Yes.
Yeah.
Or like one more thing.
Yeah.
You used to like when you used to 3-bet, I would always just be like, okay, big cards. But now, or just big cards. But now, like you 3-bet, and like I've seen you have 5-6. I've seen you have ace-5. I've seen you have 9-10.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, okay, this is when like someone becomes tougher to play against. And like, I think the number one thing that makes someone go from like being easy to play against to tough is not being scared of putting in aggression with not premium hands. And you've definitely gotten good at that, which makes it really hard to play against.
Yeah. Yeah, so to your point, which you'll make that particular person you know very happy, because when we first started doing this, one of the things was just that. He's like, Nick, when you're bluffing, you're putting out too small of a bet because you're scared and you don't want to risk whatever. And when you got it, you're putting out pot size or bigger in pot. Like, and he's even said these words. Somebody like Garrett or Nik Arcot will know this, and somebody like, I'm not going to mention, and somebody won't pick up on it. But the players that you have to be careful of are the thinking players, and it's like you're playing face up. Yeah. So that's one of the things I had to adjust. I didn't even understand sizing 3 times, 4 times in out of position until a year ago. Like, 3 times plus the dead money. Like, I had no idea. I was playing on the Friday games like a fish. The only reason I was beating the Tuesday game at the bike was because I just went down in class. And I was crushing because I literally played for 2 years with the best players in the world. Los Angeles. Like, so for me, I would have never changed that in the world. Even when I was playing the Friday game back then, the once a week, twice a week, dude, I loved playing with those players because if I could get better and win, it was a real accomplishment for me.
For sure.
Yeah, so,
I mean, that's how I feel like playing these games too. It's like as I've played more, like getting to play with Andy a ton and stuff, I've definitely gotten better. And seeing like, I've played with Garrett now and seeing like how he plays, like I've definitely improved, and I've played small amounts with them compared to you. So I can only imagine like, I mean, it's just like you learn so much by playing. And that's the thing people don't understand is like the first time you like 4-bet light, it's fucking scary. I mean,
so scary.
Last Sunday, I 5-bet with Queen Jack off. Oh man, I was like, fuck, this is such a punt. But after you do it a couple times, you're like, okay, I can do this. This is good, and like, you can get comfortable playing playing poker and not just like waiting. And I think that's the big shift.
Well, I've been able to. What I've had to do is I've been able to exploit my image as I evolved.
You're good
because,
at that.
Like you said, if I bet this amount, I have it. Well, now it's not always the case. But now people are catching on to that. So then sometimes what I do is I go back for a few weeks and I have it. And back and forth. But these are the things that I didn't understand. And Garrett used to be the master, if you're listening, the best at this. Dude, I used to he used to go to 2 or 3 weeks of only over betting when he didn't have it. And I would see that. And then he would switch and only do it when he had it. And he would fucking stack me like every time. And I'm like, and then I would joke and say, which week are we here? Are we have it week or not have it? And I was so confused. He was so balanced and so thoughtful of everything he did. That's when I started realizing, oh my God.
And I think so speaking of Garrett, I think one thing that Garrett does, I don't necessarily think Garrett's poker strategy that he uses is better than anyone's. I don't think it's that.
No, I know why he's better, but you'll say it.
I think it's his emotional control and his EQ. He doesn't get tilted. You show Garrett a bluff, he doesn't get tilted.
Nope.
You needle him. I've gotten Garrett a little tilted a couple times, but it's very hard.
Yeah, you did it.
He doesn't change how he plays. But he also understands your emotional state. So when you're ready to blow up, he cues in, this guy's ready to blow up, and he comes ready to receive. When he sees, wow, this guy just won a big pot and he doesn't want to put the money in, he puts all the money in. And so he's very aware of like the situation and everyone else's situation in the game, and everyone's emotional state.
He's very smart. He knows exactly when to attack.
And that to me is what makes him the best, is he's very keenly aware. And so something I try to work on too is like, how has this person been doing today? How are they been doing the last 10 minutes? How are they feeling?
You're smart.
And I try to think about that. Now, I still forget a lot where I just autopilot or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
But that to me is the difference that between like Garrett and like everyone else.
You're absolutely spot on. That is his strengths, and he's very good at picking. He's very good at picking his spots too. And he knows every player. He knows if a player is not going to be knocked off a hand with just a pair. He knows when to put the money in. He knows when a stack is a little bit scared. He knows when it's very scared. He's very aware of all these points you're saying, to the point of mastery. Like he's really
it's awesome to watch.
It's awesome to watch. I say was like he's gone forever. He probably isn't, but he's the best at that.
And I think a good example of that is there was that hand the day before the drama where he shoved the king 5 into Andy as kings. I'm sure you've seen this, like 3x pot, 300k and 80k.
Yeah. And
that hand, I mean, to me, that hand is just an example of just pure mastery. It's nothing to do with range or blockers. It's an understanding that Andy doesn't have a jack. I'm all in. Yeah. And I think that is super cool. And that's what poker's about.
Here's the other thing. He has a lot of history with Andy, and in my opinion, has been in Andy's head.
Of course.
And so
I've talked to Andy about this.
Yeah,
Andy's openly saying like Garrett's just gotten the best of him in these big spots.
And so these are the things why Garrett's doing what he's doing, because he understands that dynamic, the meta game of it. And to your point, and he's very smart at this too. And this is, it's a business and it should be this way. But like say when I was playing at the bike in seat 5, they always customer service. Right, if I wanted a fucking haircut at the table, they would have got a fucking barber, like whatever to make me happy, right? Just make them happy, okay? Seat 5, whatever, draw around you, anything. But there was like 6 or 7 other pros, killers, and so what Garrett was really good at too is he would exploit Andy. He would find good spots for other people too, like a Dan Zach who's a great player but also knows how to make a fold, right? But what he was doing, and the other players were doing too, is they were just trying to figure out how to get as much equity of my losses as they could get during that session. So there was one time where, and Garrett laughs about this, he thought it was the funniest thing that I ever said, and we talk about it all the time, is he would continually put himself in a position, depending where he was at the table, to try to isolate me.
Yep.
Why wouldn't you?
Of course.
Right? Okay. So he did it again. He isolated me in a hand. It was like for the 1500th time, and I finally go, I know what you're doing, okay? And it's fucking rude.
It's funny because it is.
And it was, he knew exactly what I meant and literally almost fell off his chair. And then, of course, I donked off whatever it was in that hand anyways. But that's a smart player.
Yeah.
They're not just clicking buttons. Like, they get it, So, yeah, to your point. Anything else you want to say on any of that?
No, I mean, I think that, like, another thing, like, I noticed, like, these guys like Garrett is like, for example, like he keeps the right players in the pot. Like he doesn't squeeze against the pros, like the recreationals behind him, and like he'll flat a 3-bet with a really strong hand to keep someone else in. And these are all subtle things that make him very good. And like they compound upon themselves, where he ends up in better situations post flop because of these decisions, which give him better opportunities to make better decisions against people who are making worse decisions.
Right.
And that comes the money,
it just turns into cash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't have the hand memorized, but you played last week, the biggest pot in Hustler Casino Live's history.
Yeah, that was nice.
Nik Airball is the winner of the biggest pot in our history. So whatever type of brand you're trying to build, whatever trying to baller you're trying to be, you binked it.
Yeah, pretty good, right?
It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah,
you feel good about it.
I feel amazing.
How many times have you watched that fucking hand?
Probably 10, 20. Fuck yeah. Are you kidding me? That was awesome.
But you're only watching it because you're trying to learn something right now.
I'm just trying to study myself.
Trying to study, yeah. All right, walk me through the hand. I don't have notes on it. I don't know the betting. I don't know the rivers, the streets. Just can you tell me what happened?
Sure. So it was 1-2-2-4 is the game. Okay. And Andy had just lost a big pot, so he goes to his bag to get chips. and he's like first to act. So we're all yelling at him, Andy, come on, go. So he's like, call blind. So he calls 400 blind.
Okay.
And then it folds around to button clicker on the button. And he says, I'll take that blind money. And he makes it 2,000. And then Bill Klein's in the small blind. He calls 2,000. And I look down at the beautiful natural 9, 5-4 suited.
5-4 suited. Okay.
So, I make a standard 3-bet. I think this is normal for me.
It's great.
We're sitting 1,000 BB deep.
Got you fucking paid.
Yeah. So we're sitting 1,000 big blinds deep. I'm going to have these hands. So I make it 13,000. Andy folds his hand, button clicker calls, and Bill calls. So there's 40,000 in the pot. We go to the flop. The flop is the beautiful 3-6-7 rainbow. Just flop the nuts.
How does that happen?
I know. How does it happen? And Bill checks. And so for whatever reason, I think this is a good spot to bet bigger. So I bet half pot, 20,000.
Yeah, are you thinking at the time I'm trying to take advantage of a board that I shouldn't hit?
I'm just thinking over pairs never fold.
Yeah.
I'm not really repping much here.
That's what I mean.
Exactly.
And so someone's going to say bullshit.
And I had the perception based on the few hours of play with button clicker, and I don't mean this to be rude, but I think he perceived us all to be pretty fucking terrible and had very little respect for our poker games.
That's just the vibe you felt.
That's the vibe I felt.
Yeah, okay.
And
That's
so
fair.
I felt that in these pots, especially these 3-bet pots where he's in position.
You can take advantage of your fish persona.
Yeah, and the fact that he thinks that I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
So I bet half pot, 20,000, and button clicker calls. And so when he calls, I think he has, a set, 2 pair, over pair, or maybe 8-9 for a straight draw. And then Bill folds. And so I was kind of thought Bill just had garbage, but he made a really good fold.
But he has to have one of those hands. There's no way he's on a big pair. There's no way.
He could have an over pair 10s, 8s, 9s. Nothing crazy like aces or kings. He doesn't have those.
Yeah,
but
pair, 8s or 9s.
Yeah, maybe even jacks. Maybe because he's trying to keep Bill in the pot. But I don't even think he has jacks. I think he just 4-bets. So I think he has an over pair. A lot or 2 pair, maybe 7-6 and maybe a set, but unlikely. And then the turn is the jack, bringing the backdoor flush draw. Mm-hmm. And so now I think
wait a minute, you bet what on the flop?
20,000 into 40,000.
And he calls, Bill folds.
Yeah, so now there's 80,000 in there.
Yeah.
And we're playing 400,000 behind. And the turn is the jack, bringing the backdoor flush. And so I think that I'll have a lot of hands I just give up here and check. And then I would also check some flush draws. And so it's pretty reasonable spot to check. And I think
you checked.
Yeah, I checked. And so I checked. And I also think that he might stab dead potentially. But I also just think my hands, I just feel I had him in a very bad shape and whatever. I wanted to check. I checked. And when he bet, I just realized he had a set. So he bet 45,000 and I just felt for sure he had a set. Because even now the way I see it is the board's 6-7-3 jack. I 3-bet out of position, bet the flop into 2 people. I don't see what hands he bets on the turn that aren't sets.
Yeah.
I don't think he bets 8s, 9s, or 10s.
No.
I don't think he bets flush draws because he's scared I'm going to blow him off.
I don't
think he bets 7-6 because once again that just hand wants to pot control. The pot's going to get huge. So I don't think he has any hands that when he bets there. I think he only has.
You put him right where he was in your head.
So I was you have a set.
You're just praying right now. Don't pair the board. Don't pair the board.
Oh, yeah. And I also was I don't want... There's a lot of rivers that I think kill my action, spades or an ace or king or whatever. He might get away from it.
What was the river?
It was the first one was a king of spades. So it would have killed my action because it would have brought the backdoor flush and another potential better set than his. So that's why I just ripped the turn. I was just I think you have a set. I don't think you're ever folding. I'm all in. And, he didn't fold.
Wow.
And I was nervous.
I was going to ask you, legit, did you go twice, yeah?
Yeah, I let him pick.
Yeah.
But, so I said, it's up to you. Lauren immediately goes, how many times, gentlemen, or whatever? And I was it's up to you. And in my head, I was please say twice, please say twice.
Why didn't you just say twice?
Well, if he said it's up to me, I would have said once. Because I would try to pull the gangster move on him.
Okay.
But I wanted to go twice.
But you wanted to go twice.
I wanted to go twice.
Was your heart racing?
Oh, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. I was this is
racing.
a lot. Yeah, I was there's a lot of chocolate chips.
What was the feeling when you turned your hands over and you realized you won both?
Uh-huh.
What was that feeling? And just try to explain it.
It was surreal. I didn't even realize how big the pot was. I didn't realize any of it until all the chips were in front of me, and I was
whoa!
I have $1 million in front of me now. That just escalated quickly.
Surreal, right?
Yeah, it was super surreal. I mean, yeah, it was really surreal, and it was fun. Lauren's there. I love Lauren. She dealt the hand, super fun.
How much did you give her?
2,000 and change.
Nice.
That was reasonable. I didn't know what to tip.
Very cool. Who knows? How could you know?
I
don't know. I think that's fair.
I was talking to DGAF after. I was like, I tipped her 2,000. Is that enough? Like, do I need to give
More
her
than
more?
enough. It was
He's
great.
like, no, that's plenty. I was like,
No, it
okay,
was
good.
very
I was like,
good
I don't know
tip.
what to
No,
do.
that was a very nice
Yeah, I
tip.
was like, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah, I mean,
pot.
she got you through 2 fucking rivers, bro. Are you kidding me? Yeah, at least 2,000.
Yeah, I mean, that was stressful.
What did you say to him on the way out? Did you needle him?
So when we were, so everyone's like on my case, like you're such a dick to him. First of all, I just want to say this very clearly: if you are a super pro and you come to play and I'm in the game, I'm going to needle you.
Even after you lose?
I don't give a fuck.
Okay.
Especially if you're a super pro. That guy is printing in that game. He's making so much money just being there. You got to be able to take the needles from fish like me.
So you're just saying if Button Clicker played on a regular basis, he's printing?
Of course.
Okay.
And I think even on the one-off, like let's just be frank, he shouldn't have played that game. Like that, there were players in the game who did not want him to play. When they found out he was added, they were not happy.
Now, why did Ryan add him? I have no idea. I've never discussed this with him.
Someone vouched, said he's fun in these games, and Ryan
Was he?
No one.
Did he bring anything else to the table? Was he interactive? I didn't watch.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay, so what'd you say?
So, we got it all in, and I won the first board, and I asked him about the other hand, the Ace King Hearts. I was like, did you bluff me that hand? He's like, I'll tell you if I lose this pot.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And I said, if you lose this pot,
That's when he had jacks full.
yeah. So I asked him about that after I won the first board, and I said, he said, I'll tell you if I lose this second board. And I said, if you lose this second board, you'll be on your way home.
He said that?
Yeah. And he goes, yup, I'll be on my bike to Vegas. Like, he was fine. Like, he understands that needles are open.
Yeah.
And then as he was leaving, I felt him. I asked him, I said, wait, so did you bluff me the other hand?
That's what it was? And he said, no, I had it.
He said, no, I had jacks. Fuck. And he walks off.
He had to admit that too. You got the best of them both times.
I got the best of it both times.
That's really sick. That's really sick.
I wasn't intending to be a dick to him or anything, but I also think, like, it's funny and it's fine. Like, he's in a great spot.
You could tell you were laughing up a storm when he was walking away. You were very giddy.
I was giddy as hell.
You were giddy,
You know why? So before the game, one of the guys that didn't want him to play particularly was JR. Not because I think he was too good, but JR just wanted it to be like people he knows,
Okay.
Which is reasonable. I think, like, I also prefer when the lineup is like people I all know because it's just like comfortable, right? And so before the game, I told JR, I was like, don't worry, like, he's some online guy. He's going to buy in for 20K. He probably only has like a couple bullets. I'll felt him for you and we'll play just us.
Yeah.
And then he came with like 400K, and we were all like, oh, fuck, we can't felt this guy. Like, he has too much money here.
Yeah.
So then when I felted him, I was so happy to tell JR, I got you, buddy. I told you I'd take care of it.
Is that what you told him?
Yeah.
Did he laugh?
Yeah.
Now, is he not, do you think he's one of the most improved players?
JR?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. JR's tough.
He's tough, right?
I mean, yesterday he ran.
But he's improved.
Dude,
he wasn't always this tough.
Yesterday he ran a sick bluff where someone opened, Andy 3-bet, and he cold called from the third blind, okay? The flop came 7-deuce-3. Andy bets big. JR calls. Turns of 4.
Yeah.
Andy bets like 16K with kings, okay? It's rainbow. JR makes it like 60. Andy calls. The river is a brick, and Andy JR's first, and he bets 110. You got to fold kings. Have to.
Yeah.
Fold kings, right? JR's pocket fives for the blockers.
Wow.
Just runs it. I mean, he's getting so much better. And JR's like, the thing about JR too is like, he's not scared money.
No,
like,
of course. Yeah. So you can't
like,
push him around.
Yeah. So it's like, not only is he willing to call you down, but he's also, now he's finding the ability to bluff.
To put pressure on you.
And that's what's tough. Because a lot of the guys like JR, their initial weakness is they're willing to put a lot of money in calling.
But not bluffing.
Yeah. And so when they're putting a lot of money in aggressively, you can just be like, oh, they have it. Like, they're not bluffing. But now he's running these big bluffs, and now it puts you in situations where you're like, I know he's capable, and now it becomes very tough to play against.
Yeah, well, kudos to, if you ever watch this, JR, kudos to you, because I've noticed the improvement. I don't know if he likes me. I get a weird vibe from him. I try to talk to him, but he's...
I like JR. I don't know.
I don't know. JR, if you're out there, will you text me and tell me you like me? I like totally got a complex. I think I text you like 2 weeks ago. I think he left me on read.
Airballed you?
Yeah, he airballed me, bro. But anyways, I like you. So, and thanks for coming back. I'm glad he made a comeback.
Yeah, dude,
that was a shorter retirement than fucking Jordan's.
I mean, thank goodness we needed JR.
Yeah.
JR is the best.
Well, he is the best. He's great for the game, not in a fish way, but he's just good for the game. Yeah. People love him.
He's just so fun to be around too. I think he tweeted this, so I don't mind saying it. So after the stream yesterday, we played one hand, and the board was ace, ace, jack, jack, jack. Okay? Mm-hmm. And JR had ace, queen, and Andy had king, jack. So he rivered quads versus aces full. On the river, there's like 50K in the pot, and Andy bets like over 100. And JR obviously calls and loses. And, most people, like, that's the last hand of the game. Like, literally, the stream ended, we played that hand, and the game broke. So he loses like 150K last hand. Right?
Yeah.
What would you have done?
Probably,
we're fucking playing.
Yeah. Hopefully I had blanks in my gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
right?
so I didn't kill myself.
Ready to lose your mind, right?
Yeah.
Andy, I'm happy for you, man. Like, I'm glad you won.
Yeah. No, I know. He's
knocks the table and he's chats a little bit and then leaves. I'm like, dude, if that was me, I would have been like, fucking lock the door, Andy. We're playing heads up.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck whether or not you want to. Like,
no,
that, you know?
I get it. Yeah, no,
like,
he's a class act.
Such a class act.
Class act.
I couldn't say enough. There are some really fucking cool guys who play on the stream who I just can't say. JR, Eli, Mike X, Patrick. I mean, such classy guys. Such classy. Win or lose.
Yeah.
Whatever's going on, I admire them a lot.
We got a good bunch of people. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Nick, lastly but not leastly, is there anything you want people watching to know about you that they don't know, or do you have any closing statements that you just want somebody to know, the poker community to know, me to know, like anything? You got anything, or are you good?
I'm a sensitive boy, so I would appreciate if people stopped hating on me in the comments.
Yeah, well, you're preaching to the choir here, bro. I got my own problems.
Me and Nick are two sensitive boys. We don't want to be hated on. We just
I really am.
I'm not. When I say I'm sensitive, I'm not kidding.
No,
like,
I am too.
When I find out someone doesn't like me, or I read like a comment like, "Oh, the fucking Nick is the worst. He's such a dick." I'm like, damn,
dude,
like,
that hurts.
Like,
it hurts me. You know what's really good though? Not good. It's not good.
Mm-hmm.
What's the only positive out of a lot of stuff that's been going on with me is like when I first started. Okay, I wasn't used to this scrutiny. Mm-hmm. I played at the bike. I was the fish. Everyone loved me.
Yeah,
okay. Like, it was
don't
like,
tap the glass.
Every once in a while, it'd be like, "Oh, that guy's so bad," and I'd be like, "Wow, that's mean," but whatever, right?
Berkey would talk some shit, but
that's fine. Yeah, I don't want to bring him up. Please don't add fucking logs to the fire. I'm trying to fucking go on an apology tour here.
I like the fire.
So, but it's weird because like when I first started this and the stream started going, like I started taking so much heat in my own chat.
The most.
I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, I brought you free poker. Leave me the fuck alone, right? But I didn't understand. I just didn't get it. And when they would call me a nit, it would be like, what are they doing? Like, why are they doing this? Now, with the heat I take and have taken over this whole thing that's gone on, like I could take so much now. Like you call me something, I don't even care. Like you could say, call me that, you could whatever. So I have toughened up 10x, but I got a long way to go.
Me too.
Because like I've said in almost every time I've had a mic since this thing is like, I've made so many mistakes during this like scandal thing and my own attacks and everything else that I wish, it's really weird because if I was telling Mike MATUSOW this earlier when I did a pod with him earlier on Zoom, it's like, man, if you're quiet, they come after you because there's something there. If you're not, they come after you for everything you say, like you can't win. And I'm just, I'm trying to get to a point now where maybe you should try it. Is just like, I'm just trying to tune it out.
That's what I'm
Because I'm just not used to it. I wasn't used to the scrutiny. Like everything I always did, I did like good and people liked me. And, you know,
and
now
Billy talks about this, DJF, who I'm very close with, as you know. Talks about this all the time. He says, you know, when you play on the stream and you choose to be in that environment, it's a reality show. And and people don't understand, like, we're just existing and like we're having fun and playing poker and like when everyone loves to, like, you know, when I do something crazy and I'm drunk and I irritate people or you needle Chris or you say whatever you say that pisses everyone off or you tell people 2-round straddle and they think, oh, whatever, dude, like we're just existing, playing, having fun, like clearly, like we aren't trying to upset the viewers. We're not trying to upset anyone else. We're just here. And like sometimes people just get so worked up that I just like can't breathe, you know?
It's
like
crazy.
And the amount, I mean, especially me, because I talk a lot.
No, you take a lot of heat.
And I take a lot of heat in the comments and the chat.
It's 50-50.
Yeah.
They either love it or they fucking hate you.
It's funny though, because every time I'm in a casino, people come up to me, but I've never had negative interaction.
Well, you know who said that? It was Joey Ingram did a thing last night. I don't know if you watched it.
No, I did not, but I saw he did the thing.
He started doing a thing. And he said something. I watched it for a few minutes, and he said something that was really profound because I noticed this too. When I went to the WSOP, I had nothing but love. Pictures, love, hello. But he said this. He said it's weird because it's a very small percentage of people that don't like you, but they won't say anything to you when they see you. They just look at you and think, oh, that's that guy. But the people that are cool or your fans, they'll say something. So it's just so you know too, when you're walking around, everyone in the casino's telling you nice things. There's half the people that hate your guts.
And the funny thing too is like so I don't know if you noticed, but I go in the chat, the YouTube chat when the stream is like maybe twice a week. I try to go in there. Yeah, I think it's good. Like
it's good for the people.
Exactly. That's why I do it, because like it doesn't do anything for me, but I think it's fun. but I also like know who like talks shit about me in the chat. Like generally I know the names. So I always go in there and I say hi to everyone. Like anyone says, "Hey Nick," I respond to them. I do my best, okay? Right. And I'll see the people who are like, "This guy's a fat, annoying, dumb fucking trust fund baby. Like, shut the fuck up, blah, blah, blah." And then I come in the chat, "Hey, Nick, how's it going?"
You know, right?
I'm just
so crazy.
Dying in my house. I'm dying. But I always respond. I don't, like, I'm just like, you know what? It's fine. I don't care.
It's all good.
Yeah, and I love the chat. I love the people watching make the show. And
it's true.
I mean,
it's true. They have the right.
Exactly. And without them, the show wouldn't be there.
That's right.
It wouldn't be as fun.
Let them have their fun.
We wouldn't have the games we have.
Yeah.
And it's part of what comes with it. I choose to play on the show. I know it's part of it.
Yeah. Well, you know what the positive part of all this is this. And people, I don't know if they understand this or maybe they're jealous of this. I don't know. We have such an have such an amazing community at High Stakes Poker Productions or Hustler Casino Live. And we're like such a family. Fighting, sometimes we fight, family, we have disagreements. But it is so fun to come in and sit with your friends on a weekly basis and play the game you love at a high level that a lot of people can't play. And so I have to remember that I am very blessed. Yep. So are you. And that's what I need to keep my eye on that ball and try to tune out some of the other stuff because I am sensitive. I got the beard, the tattoos. You wouldn't think so. Yeah, I could throw, but I'm very sensitive. Yeah. After, if I beat you up, I'll probably cry. Yeah. Because I'll feel bad for you. So anyways, Nick, anything else?
No,
that's
pleasure.
it. You got it? Okay, guys, we finally got the airball in. He is the biggest pot winner at this point, November 17th. So 19th? Oh shit. By November 19th, 2000, what am I in? 22. This is the winner of the biggest pot in our history for now. We'll see if we can break that. Maybe you can break it.
I'm hoping to.
Okay. And again, we're here with Nik Airball Arcot. I am Nick Vertucci, and this is the Nik Vertucci Show. Envy out. All right. Thanks.
Perfect. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.